Good morning. Hey. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay, Rikers, here we come.
Rikers, here we come.
Doreen Quinn Giuliano has become far too familiar with Rikers Island, one of the country's most dangerous and notorious jails. Her son, John Juka, has been behind bars since 2005, convicted of murdering a college sophomore.
John doesn't belong here.
Where does he belong?
Home.
It was known in the New York tabloids as the Grid Kid murder, short for gridiron. But Doreen was convinced her son was innocent.
Does it ever cross your mind that maybe John did have something to do with it?
No, I'm 100% sure he did not.
How can you be 100% sure?
The facts. Just follow the facts.
These facts, Doreen says, led her to take matters into her own hands, going undercover and drastically changing her appearance, all to try to clear her son's name.
There's a part of me that's sympathetic to Doreen Giuliano, and I almost admire the fact that she stood by him to this point. But John Juka is not the victim in this case. It's Mark Fisher.
It was Columbus Day weekend, 2003. 19-year-old college student Mark Fisher heads to the Big Apple to explore the city's hopping bar scene.
Mark Fisher was every parent's dream. A big, strapping, good-looking student athlete, a prom king in his high school, a phenomenal football player.
He meets up with a group of guys that night, including Tommy Soleil.
A bunch of us went to these bars on like the Upper East Side.
Bunch of guys.
A bunch of guys,
Cruising for chicks.
yeah.
Cruising for chicks along with him that night, his wingman from high school, John Juka.
Best friends.
Yeah, hang out every day, weekends. And
After some in the group failed to score drinks with their fake IDs, then 20-year-old Juka invites everyone back to his house in Brooklyn, where Mark Fisher has no idea what he's about to get himself into.
Why was it decided to go to John Juka's house?
his mom was away, and he had a big house. It was like the easy choice.
So it was a little bit like the cat's away, the mice will play.
Yeah.
I was in Florida on a weekend vacation with my husband.
And John decided to throw up an impromptu party.
I mean, there was a few kids that got stranded in Manhattan and had no place to go.
And yet that impromptu party turned into perhaps one of the biggest mistakes of his life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Doreen says one of those mistakes, her son's decision to invite neighborhood bad apple Antonio Russo, known for his long dreadlocks, a penchant for picking fights, and dealing marijuana.
He was a bit of a wild card.
Some say Mark Fisher got on Juka's bad side, mooching on the beer and weed. In those early morning hours, Fisher stumbles out the door and never returns. He's found dead 2 blocks away on Argyle Road.
They found a male white prone in the street, obviously the victim of several gunshots. There was some trauma to his face.
The strapping 6'3", 205-pound former football player from New Jersey is found shot 5 times in the back, laying on a blanket from Juka's home. It's a tabloid feeding frenzy over the Grid Kid slaying. Antonio Russo attracts cops' attention immediately. John Juka is put on trial for the murder of Mark Fisher, along with pot pusher Antonio Russo, who cut off his dreadlocks the same day Fisher is found dead.
He had dreadlocks that he had cultivated for years. So for him to get them sheared was very suspect. And then he takes off for California a couple of days later.
Juka also becomes a suspect because the party was at his house. But the investigation stalls out for days, weeks, and then months. That's when aggressive prosecutor Anna Siga Nicolazzi gets assigned to the case. John Juka and Antonio Russo are charged with murder. At trial, Nicolazzi's star witness, a jailhouse snitch named John Avito, who had approached prosecutors with a story to tell.
He's the last witness. Avito meets John Juka in Rikers Island, and according to Avito, John Juka elaborates on how he killed Mark Fisher.
Avito testifies that his prison mate told him he pistol whipped Mark Fisher, and then his buddy Antonio Russo shot him dead.
This was an extremely dramatic moment at the trial. Nobody saw it coming.
Both are found guilty of murder, sentenced to 25 years to life.
What was your reaction to the fact that the jury came back with a verdict in 2 hours?
Something was wrong.
Outraged by her son's guilty verdict, John Juka's mother, Doreen Quinn Giuliano, decides to take action, immediately focusing on the jurors who so quickly convicted her son.
She was crazed with hysteria and terrified for her son's future.
It's fair to say what she does next, few mothers would ever consider.
What made you decide to go undercover?
When a mutual friend of John's, who was in the audience, recognized one of the jurors, the guy with the baldy head.
Doreen believes that if that bald juror knew anyone involved in the trial, especially the witnesses, it should have disqualified him as a juror.
The key point here is less about how much did he know about these people and more, did he intentionally lie to get on the jury?
Who was juror number 8?
Juror 8 was Jason Allo. He knew my son's friends.
Setting her sights on that juror, Jason Allo, a 31-year-old Brooklynite, construction worker, still living at home with mom.
He committed very serious juror misconduct, and I've uncovered it.
Doreen, who at the time had been married 17 years, confides the details of her audacious plan to her husband, Juka's stepfather.
He didn't want me to do it, honestly. He said, no, no, no.
You went to a tanning booth?
Yes, I just was trying to knock off some years.
These pictures of her radical transformation were taken for a Vanity Fair magazine shoot.
I bought a whole new wardrobe, you know, low-cut blouses, push-up bra, high heels that I had to practice walking in because I wasn't good at it. I had to try to, you know, attract him.
You became your own private investigator.
I did. Sitting there for hours. You just can't take your eye off the price.
And you called him the target.
I did call him the target, yeah.
For months, Doreen stakes out the target's every move on this corner in Bensonhurst, considered the Little Italy of Brooklyn. At one point, she even dons a burqa.
A Muslim friend hooked me up with this beautiful burqa and said, and you could get up close to anyone you want and eavesdrop. I remember listening to a conversation. He was talking about blondes. He liked blondes. That's when I decided to go really blonde.
5 months into the sting, and she's ready to make her move.
I rode my bike past him several times, up and down the block, waiting for him to notice me. Then his friend whistled at me, and my heart dropped. And I said hi, and I said I was from California and was new to the neighborhood. And he said I could give him a call.
Her new persona also rents a bachelorette pad.
Yes, I
How
did.
long were you here?
A year, maybe a year and a half.
Armed with a brand new life and a sexy cover, she's ready for her next brash move, a romantic dinner for 2 with juror number 8.
You would have done whatever it took.
Yes.
Even if it meant taking him to bed.
Of course, of course.
But it didn't come to that.
No, no. We had a friendship.
They drink wine, eat takeout, and listen to the Rolling Stones, while Doreen says Allo was rolling something else.
And you're also smoking weed with him.
I was like, am I gonna feel paranoid? Am I gonna, you know, blow my cover?
How much of your conversations were recorded?
All of it.
Yup, it turns out in addition to her push-up bra and Daisy Dukes, Doreen was wearing something else, a wire.
And you kept it where?
Between my boobs.
Hello. Hello. I'm nervous as hell.
Slowly, Doreen builds Allo's trust, turning their conversations towards her son John's murder trial.
And you could have got it excused. There's a million and one excuses to get excused.
Number one excuse, I'm prejudiced.
You want to...
I hate Jews.
He believed that John was Jewish.
It's hardly enough to win a retrial, but then Doreen says Allo drops a bombshell. Is it finally the piece of evidence she needs to win her son's freedom?
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.